Okay, good afternoon, everyone. If you can please take your seats for those that have seats. We'd like to begin with today's program, and so it is my pleasure as the first Deputy Aviation Commissioner to welcome all of you to today's event. To begin the program, I'd like to introduce Congressman Krishnamurthy to come to the podium and say a few words. Congressman.
Good afternoon. I'm the warm-up act for the main events today. I want to observe the 3 rules of public speaking: be short, be sweet, and be gone. So I have 3 points that I want to make. First of all, I want to say a big thank you to our wonderful Mayor, Lori Lightfoot, Senator Durbin, Congressman Garcia, Alderman O'Shea, Commissioner Rhee, and all the dignitaries from the FAA, organized labor, and the airlines. Give them a round of applause. You know, these folks demonstrated the 3 C's of successful infrastructure projects: cooperation at the city, state, and federal level, working with the private sector and organized labor, leading to construction and leading to completion today. And that's a big deal. We need to see more of that everywhere. The second point I want to make is, as some of you might know, I'm the congressman representing all the suburbs surrounding O'Hare Airport, including the runways, but not the terminals. And we can talk about gerrymandering at a later time. But today we're celebrating the completion of runway 9C, a 2-mile-long runway, as well as the extension of runway 9R. And what this means is very simple. It means that we can now handle the world's largest airplanes. We can increase throughput, and we've already done so by 50% at O'Hare, and we reduce delays. And since the beginning of the O'Hare Modernization Program, especially with the runways, we've seen delays go down by 60%. 60%. My third and final point is this: O'Hare Modernization is a part of O'Hare 21. And O'Hare 21 is an exciting modernization of the entire airport, including a new global Terminal 2, including an expansion of Terminal 5 and satellite concourses. And all of this means more passengers, more cargo running through O'Hare. Now, why is that important? That means more tourists and more business for Chicago and the Midwest. And of course, that means more money and more jobs. More money and more jobs for the region and really our country. In cementing O'Hare as the world's busiest airport and the most connected airport, O'Hare will remain the beating heart of the Midwest, and I argue the transportation network of the country. Now I would like to introduce our mayor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who has done an absolutely fantastic job leading O'Hare's modernization program, and we are so excited about what's to come. Mayor?
Good afternoon, everyone. It is truly a pleasure to be here, and I have some historical connection to the O'Hare Modernization Program, which I'll talk about in a moment. But let me also join Congressman Krishnamurthy in recognizing the other distinguished leaders who are here with me today. Of course, our senior senator, Dick Durbin, more on his role as a champion for this airport in the region. Congressman Jesus Chuy Garcia, who is here with us today. U.S. Federal Aviation Administration Deputy Administrator Bradley Mims. United Airlines Vice President of O'Hare Hub, Omar Idris. American Airlines Senior Vice President of Global Affairs, Nathan Gatton. Alderman Matt O'Shea, who's the chair of the City Council Aviation Committee. Chicago Federation of Labor Secretary Treasurer Don Villar, And I also have to give a special shout out and recognition to Lester Crown, who many of you know was very instrumental at the beginning of this project and helping organize funding and land acquisition, and without whose work we would not be standing here today. So thank you, Mr. Crown. And of course, we have to recognize and applaud our great Department of Aviation Commissioner, Jamie Rhee. It's a great day to be here at our beloved O'Hare Airfield, and even more so to celebrate the incredible investment that ensures that it retains its well-earned, well-deserved reputation as one of the world's busiest, best, and efficient and well-run airports. Today's celebration comes at a particularly good time. Following more than a year of COVID-19 related challenges, Chicago's tourism and aviation industries are now showing strong signs of recovery. For example, even in the incredibly slow months of the pandemic, O'Hare still welcomed nearly 30 million passengers through its gates. And thanks to its central location, the airport remained one of the country's busiest ports and maintained a record-setting pace for cargo operations. For example, in the first half of 2020 alone, the airport processed more cargo by value than any other U.S. port. And yes, that includes land, air, or sea. That's a tremendous accomplishment. All of this is to say that O'Hare has and will continue to be a critical part of our city and our region's economic well-being, making it all the more important that we continue investing in its long-term future, which means long-term success. And as Congressman Chris Lamorty said, jobs, jobs, jobs. That's exactly the vision of the O'Hare Modernization Program, or OMP, which was launched under Mayor Richard M. Daley in 2001 and when construction began in the fall of 2005. I remember this project well because I worked at the Department of Procurement Services, and with the assistance of the then OMP legal counsel, Jamie Rhee, we worked to push out those first construction contracts. What the OMP meant to the airport and the air travel system and passenger experience is simply profound. The changes have been tremendous. And let me take you back. Pre-OMP, the runways intersected like a four-way traffic stop, which triggered massive delays on the airfield. Those delays had a ripple effect across the entire air system. And passengers were not only facing delays, but often missed connections. And with the correcting of the runways and making them run parallel, OMP has resulted in a 64% reduction of delays over the life of the project. That's a tremendous accomplishment. With the completion of this 16-year, $6 billion infrastructure investment, we have accomplished two major goals. First, we have significantly improved the traveler experience. For modernizing the configuration of the airport runways will increase the number of flights and make traveling more convenient for people coming to and from our city, as well as significantly reduce the impact delays that I talked about a moment ago. With more runways and less delays, O'Hare will be well equipped to successfully handle the rebounding passenger and long-term air traffic, and well prepared for the future redevelopment of the airport terminals, which we are also extraordinarily excited about. Second, these investments will catalyze airport-related economic growth within Chicago and the surrounding communities. As we're all aware, airports do more than just transport passengers and cargo. They support job creation, stimulate the economy, and create numerous business opportunities for residents. I'm happy to say that in this year alone, we've had over 140 plus businesses make a pro-Chicago decision. And part of the reason that companies have relocated to Chicago from other parts of the country is because of our incredible, modern, and convenient transportation system, which centers around O'Hare Airport. An investment in O'Hare is therefore an investment in the entire regional and city health of our neighborhoods, our communities, and the lives of our residents who call them home, which is a sentiment reflected by the beautiful artwork we are surrounded by now. And I ask you to just take a look at these creations. Before I close, I want to turn everybody's attention to these murals, which were painted by our teens as part of an event hosted last month by My Shy, My Future, my administration's signature youth investment program that is led by my wife, First Lady Amy Eshman, who is here with us today. Thank you. At this particular event, which is part of the program's larger summer kickback series, young people from our south and west sides were able to have fun and safely connect with their peers through the power of art. And now their finished projects will go on display in O'Hare for residents and visitors from around the world to admire. I always have to give a debt of great thanks to my wife, who has spent a significant amount of her professional career very much involved and concerned about our young people, particularly in their out-of-school times. And making these murals a reality was part of that work. So thank you. There are also a lot of other people to thank for making this day a reality. Of course, first thanks goes to Mayor Richard M. Daley, whose vision made this day a reality. Of course, his successor and my predecessor, Mayor Rahm Emanuel, and all the aviation commissioners, the head of OMP, Rosie Annalino, who is with us here today, all the construction companies and architects, and of course, the workers who literally poured their blood, sweat, and tears into the work of this 16-year journey. I am also deeply grateful to Commissioner Reed, who we met in a somewhat different circumstance back in 2005 when we were trying to navigate all of the different contracts and the demands and the pressure of making sure that this project literally got off the ground. But she's been a great friend ever since, and I'm proud to say she is our talented and great leader of the Department of Aviation. I'm also grateful to our airline partners, two of whom are represented today, and our federal partners, FAA and others who have made this journey and this moment possible. But I'd be remiss if I didn't also say I'm gratefully, deeply appreciative of one federal partner in particular, and that's our senator, our senior senator, Dick Durbin. Dick Durbin has been a long time and steadfast partner in this work. And through his leadership and advocacy, we were able to secure the federal funds we needed to literally get this project off the ground and see it through to fruition. So Senator Durbin, thank you on behalf of a grateful city, a region that will benefit from your hard work for generations to come. And please come to the podium and share a few words with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, and to my colleagues from Washington, Congressman Krishnamurthy and Congressman Garcia. We're part of a team in the Illinois delegation, and we represent our friends who've been with us in this battle for a long, long time. I want to pause for just a moment and make certain that I acknowledge several people who were members of my staff during this project. I want to start with Margaret Houlihan Smith, who was my chief of staff in the Chicago office when we began this project. She left my office to work with the state of Illinois on this project, then into the private sector on this project. And Margaret, thank you for being there from the beginning. You still look pretty young, girl. Congratulations. Now you're going to look behind me, I hope, and reflect on this beautiful setting, absolutely breathtaking setting. Those beautiful airplanes from two of the best airlines in the world, that control tower and all that white concrete. that really reflects an investment in O'Hare. And you must say to yourself, well, why is this such a big deal? I mean, it's so obvious. So you wanted to build some new runways to make this airport, one of the busiest in the world, more efficient and safer. Well, who would oppose that? And you want to make an investment in more runways so we can have more access and capacity here, whether it's for cargo or passengers, and deliver them safely. Well, who would oppose that? And in doing that, you're going to create an economic engine, the envy of cities and states around the world, right here at O'Hare. Well, certainly everybody be for that, right? Well, then you don't know a damn thing about this project. This was a battle almost from the start. It started in court and went on for years and years and years, and then it moved to the halls of Congress, where I had a Senate colleague who opposed this project. He did everything he could think of to stop it or slow it down. And he was very open about it. He just didn't think we should build it. We had to fight him all the way. And the man who led that effort in Washington on my staff is here today, Tom Katerik. Tom, wherever you are, there he is in the back by the food. Thanks, Tom. I also want to thank Clara Salduque, my current chief of staff, who's been with me and this project from the beginning as well. The point I'm trying to make to you is this was a battle. It was a battle every step of the way, not just to compete for the federal dollars, but to compete with people who never wanted to see this built. They had a variety of different reasons for it, but they were opposed to it. And we took that battle to them and we succeeded. $2.5 billion federal tax dollars right here at O'Hare. Of the $6 to $8 billion, $2.5 billion come directly from Washington. It was an investment of Washington into a city and into a country that made sense. And when you look at the bottom line here, you've heard the numbers, the opportunities this create, the jobs created. I want to give a special shout out, maybe a repetition, but one from the heart, to organized labor, the women and men of organized labor who built this beautiful improvement in this airport. Let's give them a round of applause for all that they have done. We're not done. I want to quote one of my favorite philosophers. Well, it's actually a group of philosophers, Fleetwood Mac. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. We got a once-in-a-generation opportunity to keep investing in O'Hare, thanks to our leader in Washington, President Joe Biden. President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure deal has passed the United States Senate. Is it going to pass the House? Chewy says yes with his fingers crossed. It's a once-in-a-generation plan to rebuild our nation's roads, railways, high-speed internet, clean water, and millions of good-paying jobs across this country. It includes, listen closely, $25 billion to modernize America's airports. Got any ideas? I do. That funding is going to be the next step in modernizing O'Hare terminal expansion. So don't put your shovels away quite yet. The work on O'Hare has just begun. We are creating here an asset that not only serves us well, but will serve our children and grandchildren to follow. For those who want to proclaim some sort of end of leadership for the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois, I say you ought to be here right now at O'Hare and look at what we're announcing. The envy of the United States of America. That scene behind me tells a story. We're building for the future, and we're building for a bright future for this area. It's been an honor to be part of it, and to introduce my congressional colleague, member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in the House of Representatives, Congressman Chuy Garcia.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Senator Durbin, for the introduction and, of course, for all of your work getting us to this auspicious day today. And thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for inviting me here today to help celebrate this great occasion. It's been in the making for a long time 16 years to complete these important runway upgrades. As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, I am delighted to be here and reflective that in 1986, as the newly minted chairman of the Committee on Aviation in Chicago, we initiated a project to build the People Mover, the automated gateway transit system. I think it was called the AGT, better known as the People Mover. So I've been long involved with O'Hare Airport, dating back, of course, to that time. We actually started construction under the leadership of my old friend, Mayor Harold Washington. And I guess it shows that I've been around for quite a while, and that the process of completely upgrading those projects takes a while, and it takes a lot of good people to make them happen. O'Hare Airport has the most flights of any commercial airport in the United States, and the realignment of its runways at O'Hare through the modernization program will make the airport operate much more efficiently and safely. Investments like this, as well as ongoing O'Hare 21 programs, are critical to improving Chicago's infrastructure and, of course, keeping Chicago a world-class city. These investments also provide great-paying jobs to working-class Chicagoans, especially Black and Latino workers, and that is so important. I will keep up the fight in Congress for infrastructure investment for Chicago and work with the mayor, my colleagues, and our local elected officials as well, and its people, because the infrastructure that we need in the 21st century can get a huge injection if we do the right thing in Congress in the coming days and weeks. Thank you again for inviting me. It's a great day to celebrate as we continue our progress to make O'Hare the world's best airport. Next, I want to introduce to you the current chairman of the Committee on Aviation, the Alderman of the 19th Ward, the chair of the Aviation Committee, Alderman Matt O'Shea.
Thank you, Congressman Garcia. Good morning. Thank you all for coming today. As chairman of the Aviation Committee, along with Vice Chair Derek Curtis, it's an honor to be here with you today at O'Hare International Airport as we acknowledge this tremendous achievement. The O'Hare Modernization Program, or as Commissioner Rhee likes to call it, OMP, she's a big fan of the acronyms, folks, is one of the largest runway configuration projects to ever take place. We should take a moment to recognize just exactly what's been completed. And these are the numbers. 16 years in the making, $6 billion invested, 8 runways, 4 of them new, 2 of them extended, and 2 new air traffic control towers. The OMP reconfigured nearly the entire airfield. It modernized our antiquated runways that for years gave this airport a reputation for delays and extended stays. When the airport was originally built, few would dream that O'Hare would one day become one of the busiest airports in the world, one of the busiest cargo exports in the country, and the economic engine that it is now driving our city. It's important that we invest and improve in our infrastructure just like this as we continue to meet our long-term needs. And this is just as important now as it was before the pandemic. Few airports and few cities can achieve rebuilding of an airfield while still operating. It's a credit to our city's leadership, our government partners, and the air carriers that we're here today to celebrate. Thank you to everyone who make this possible for our city. This internationally renowned airport is a fitting gateway to the world. And now I'd like to invite to the podium Mr. Bradley Mims, the Deputy Administrator for the Federal Aviation Administration, Thank you to the FAA and all our federal agencies who keep our airport operations going strong each and every day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's great to be here today. And before I get started, I have to bring greetings from Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, Steve Dixon, our FAA Administrator, and there are a number of our FAA folks here in the audience. My colleague, Mr. Wildgoose, is here, and others. But it's a great day. And first and foremost, I'm a Washingtonian, and I'm a lobbyist, or was a lobbyist by trade. But I have Chicago creds, all right? And I want to tell you, I worked for two members of Congress who represented the 1st District, the south side of Chicago, a guy named Bennett Stewart, and I started with him in 1979. And then I worked for Charlie Hayes, who I worked for in the 1980s, if I could put it that way. But I have great love for this city, and I have great love for this facility that we stand today. I will tell you that I was here in 2005 when we kicked off, and here I am back as Deputy Administrator of the FAA as we are going forward. And again, it's 2021 and Chicago is still changing fast, particularly here at O'Hare International Airport. We have an international airport that is safer, more efficient, and more environmentally friendly than when we started. This is a combination of more than 20 years of hard work between the FAA and our partners here. And I want to congratulate everyone involved, the city, the Department of Aviation, and Mayor Lightfoot for all of the work that you guys have done. Under this $7 billion infrastructure program, we transformed Chicago O'Hare International Airport, operating with multiple intersecting runways, and that was mentioned before. That's a safety issue. And we at the department, we at the FAA were determined to correct that issue. And we converted it to an airport of mainly an east-west configuration with six runways, parallel runways. Now, I've worked at some very large airports and with very large airports in my career, and on the industry side, but I have to say I'm humbled and impressed by the magnitude of this undertaking. We have 8 miles of runway, more than 8 miles of taxiways. You installed 2 new supplemental air traffic control towers. You provided sound insulation for more than 5,600 homes here in the area and created and enhanced hundreds of acres of high-quality wetlands around Chicago. Now, when runway 9 right, 27 left, that extension is finished in December, you will have successfully completed one of the largest airport construction projects in the world. Again, building 4 new runways and extending 2 others, while continuing to operate one of the world's busiest airports, and that's monumental as we go forward. I'd like to thank the FAA Great Lakes region and our regional administrator, Rebecca Mcpherson. Where are you, Rebecca? If you can just raise your hand. Thank you for all of you've done in handling and expediting all of the complex work required to oversee this program of this magnitude. Of course, we could not have succeeded without the excellent program manager and partners, in particular DimJim and the Chicago Connect Connection Alliance. The results speak for themselves. You now have an airport that operates more efficiently in good and bad weather, with the ability to run triple parallel approaches when needed, 3 aircraft landing at the same time on the same approach. The cleaner configuration without intersecting runways also protects against runway incursions. This is a great example of what we can do when we work together to share costs. The OMP, the FAA contributed more than $1 billion, largely through the Airport Improvement Program. And I want to stop at this point, and I want to recognize Winsome Leffert, who is our Deputy Associate Administrator for Airports. Winsome is from the Great Lakes region, but she is the day-to-day operator for our airports organization in Washington, and she has done a fantastic job of moving this program forward for the FAA. So again, thank you, Winsome. This program highlights the kind of transportation modernization that we can bring to the entire country when we pass the bipartisan infrastructure deal, Senator. As you know, President Biden in the bipartisan infrastructure deal calls for $20 billion for airports, with a function on investment in terminals now and projects with environmental benefits as we're going forward. Another $5 billion for facilities and equipment for our air traffic control operations throughout the country. And while the OMP is nearly complete, we know that it won't be the end of O'Hare's modernization. We have to keep going as we go forward. We are beginning in the beginning stages of the $8.5 billion O'Hare 21 project, which will completely transform terminals 1, 2, and 5. It's time. We're also continuing to work with the city on an extension of the People Mover system that the Congressman just mentioned, that will connect the terminals to a new consolidated rental car facility. And we're also looking to make air traffic controls improvements as we go forward. So at the USDOT, we're working with the Federal Highway Administration also. This is multimodal in nature as we go forward. And I want you guys to always keep that in mind too. We not only use airport money, but we use money from federal highways and Federal Transit Administration as we're going to go forward. But we want to note the Elgin O'Hare Express Bypass as we go forward, and we'll keep working there. And there will be a bunch more to come. This is Chicago, after all, and where you outgrow predictions faster than people can make them. Please enjoy today and this celebration for the OMP. And it's been many years in the making, but through hard work and perseverance, you made this program a reality. And because of that, the city, the country, and the world will benefit from what you've done. So thank you so much, and thank you for having us here today. And I'll present our next speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Director Mims. Appreciate it. Hello, everyone. It's great to join you today as we celebrate the O'Hare Modernization Program. My name is Omar Idris. I'm the Vice President for the Chicago O'Hare Hub, Chicago's hometown airline, United Airlines. Thank you to Mayor Lightfoot and Commissioner Rhee for an invitation to join today's occasion. It's great to be joined by so many people who have championed the airline industry and our employees in unprecedented times. Your support is truly appreciated. Senator Durbin, on behalf of United Airlines, thank you for your persistent advocacy for and partnership in securing the federal support for this project. I'd also like to thank Deputy Administrator Mims for his leadership as the FAA redoubles its efforts to modernize and improve aviation infrastructure across our country. For 90 years, United has called Chicago home, offering Chicagoans more flights from O'Hare than any other carrier. This month alone, we are operating nearly 500 daily departures to destinations across the globe. Earlier this summer, we launched new nonstop service from O'Hare to Reykjavik, Iceland, Kona, Hawaii, and just last week, we announced nonstop service to Guatemala City, Guatemala. And in case you missed it, this summer, we also shared some exciting news about our future. We announced the purchase of 270 new aircraft, the largest order in our history and the biggest by an individual carrier in the last decade. When combined with our existing order, we will introduce more than 500 new narrow-body aircraft by 2024. And as a result of this growth, we plan to hire approximately 3,000 employees in bargaining positions, good-paying union jobs, to staff and maintain the additional aircraft in Chicago alone. The O'Hare Modernization Program is a key component of United's growth and our ongoing investments in Chicago. This project is going to make the entire airfield more efficient with improved runway, terminal, and roadway systems. These changes will lead to reduced delays and increased capacity to meet the entire aviation community's needs. While the aviation industry has faced unprecedented headwinds over the last year and a half, projects like this and support from the people here today will ensure that Chicago will continue to have a bright future as our nation's premier aviation hub. On behalf of United Airlines, thank you all for the hard work and dedication that you have put in to make today's celebration happen. This is a great day for O'Hare, the city of Chicago, and Chicago's aviation community. Thank you.
It's great to be in Chicago today to represent American Airlines as we celebrate this incredible milestone. I'd like to thank Mayor Lightfoot, Senator Durbin, Administrator Mims, Chairman O'Shea, Congressman Krishnamurthy, Congressman Garcia, and of course Commissioner Reeve for their leadership in helping us arrive at this moment. Commissioner Reeve, this has been a long time coming for you. As the mayor mentioned, given your previous work on the legal team that did the original planning for the OMP, but thank you for your service and for your leadership. I too would like to commend former Mayor Daley for his vision and determination to modernize O'Hare. Mayor Daley's vision and steadfast support for this airport continues to pay major dividends for not only the city of Chicago, but the entire region as the OMP has added capacity, reduced delays, and created jobs. I saw Rosie earlier, met Rosie earlier. Rosie, thank you for your early leadership here at O'Hare and on OMP. And I would also like to thank all the tradesmen and women who, as well as the CDA team, who worked to make this project a reality. Mayor Lightfoot, thank you for your commitment to O'Hare and the OMP, and your guidance of the city and specifically the airport over the last 18 months. It has been incredible and we are very appreciative. And finally, Senator Durbin, as I mentioned to you earlier, on behalf of the 9,500 American Airlines team members who call O'Hare home, thank you not only for your support of this project, but for your support of our industry as well over the last 18 months. We can honestly say that without your support, our industry would be in a very different situation than it is right now. I also wanted to note that this weekend is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And as we approach this anniversary, our hearts and our thoughts are turned to our team members who experienced loss both at American Airlines and at United Airlines. We recognize them for their sacrifice this weekend as well. And finally, we know the last 18 months has been incredibly difficult for all of us, but we also know that a strong recovery is on the horizon. Projects like this help us to look toward the bright future, and at American, we look forward to providing greater connectivity and a stronger network in Chicago for years to come. Thank you again for allowing us to be here today, and now I will turn it to Don Villar with the Chicago Federation of Labor.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Don Villar, Secretary Treasurer of the Chicago Federation of Labor. On behalf of CFL President Bob Ryder, the 300 local union affiliates that make up the CFL and the 500,000 union members that they represent across Chicago and Cook County. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for your leadership in having us here today. And thank you, Commissioner Reed, for all you do here at O'Hare and Midway Airport. And I want to acknowledge that, we just celebrated Labor Day earlier this week. Labor Day, and Labor Day was built right here in Chicago, right down in Pullman. And today, in the hometown of the American labor movement, I am so proud of the union members here, especially the building and construction trades members that built this great airport. Can you all please stand up? I want to just acknowledge our building trades sisters and brothers here. Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work. The economic engine of O'Hare, it touches so many lives in our city, including my own family. Growing up on Chicago's North Side, my mother worked at O'Hare, a member of Unite Here Local 1. She worked the morning shift, that first shift out at Sky Chef, the flight catering kitchen. So remember when we used to have flights, meals on airports, on your airplanes? Remember that time back? That was, wow, geez, it's been so long. But my mom and her co-workers, they're the ones that made the food on these planes, and the members continue to make the food on these planes. As a child of a working class family, I have so many happy memories of my mom taking us to picnics and barbecues over at the Schiller Woods or in the forest preserves near here, with a vibrant community of airport workers, immigrants, and people of color coming together after working at O'Hare. Unite Here, transport workers unions, machinists, and so many other unions that make Chicago fly. Today, inside and around these buildings, these terminals behind us, and out on the airfield, union members are hard at work. They're part of that travel experience. Travelers come into contact with dozens of union members at every turn at O'Hare, concessions workers, TSA agents, gate agents, baggage handlers, and others. When they board that plane, union flight attendants and pilots make sure they get safely to their final destination. So when they're looking out that window before the takeoff, union members are buzzing with activity all over the airfield and the terminals. So this great airport, the buildings, the taxiways and runways are all union built and maintained. So thank you. The union men and women of Chicago, they make Chicago fly. And I am so proud of their role here at O'Hare and in aviation here in Chicago. And this expansion, this investment that the city has made, and thank you, Senator Durbin and our congressional delegation, for all of that. It benefits not just the traveling public, but it means so much for working families in Chicago and working families like my own. So thank you. Thank you so much for all you do. At this time, I'd like to introduce and honored to introduce Commissioner Reed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We are so thrilled to host everyone here today. The O'Hare Modernization Program is a great achievement, and there are so many people and businesses that have played a part in making that happen. I am so proud that I participated in this program at several stages from start to finish. I was here in the 90s, before the OMP's inception, then during the Record of Decision and the opening of the first runway, and I'm thrilled to be standing here today to mark the construction completion. Throughout, I've had the honor and the privilege of serving 3 mayors, all of whom cared deeply about the success of the airport, and each left their mark on its development. Former Mayor Daley always said a modernized O'Hare would not only increase economic vitality of the Chicago area, but it would secure the city's future as a transportation icon. He maintained that stance despite the naysayers. Former Mayor Emanuel was focused on airports connectivity and loved to talk about how our airports connect Chicago to the world and the world to Chicago. And our current mayor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, clearly recognizes the economic engine of the airports and their power to generate jobs and business in addition to serving passengers. I've been fortunate to work with and for, and both in some cases, 5 leaders of this great department: Dave Messina, Mary Rose Loney, Rosemary Andolino, Michael Boland, and Ginger Evans, each of whom worked towards this milestone for the O'Hare project. The OMP is one of the biggest airport runway projects to ever be accomplished, but it's so important that we're not just focused on what is getting built, but who does the building. Having the ability to develop programs to build capacity and provide opportunity is rewarding work and never more necessary than the current moment. And no one knows or appreciates the power of procurement to drive meaningful change, transform communities, provide opportunities, and create jobs better than Chicago's Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Her vision of a city is more equitable and inclusive and inspires and guides all of the work that we do each and every day. And while COVID impacted all of us in the city of Chicago, Mayor Lightfoot made it very clear that we would not and could not let the pandemic derail our commitment to equity and inclusion. Firsthand, from start to finish, I got to witness the power of procurement to drive that change. As the general counsel for the OMP, I worked with individuals who at the time were working for very large companies who went on to open their own businesses. As the city's chief procurement officer, I then got to certify them. And now many of them are working as business owners on our ongoing capital projects and hiring from within our communities. Thank you to everyone who made this possible today. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot. Your leadership keeps us focused on what is possible for this city and helps us make that happen. Our federal leadership, represented today by Senator Durbin, Congressman Krishnamurthy, Congressman Garcia, our state elected officials who join us today, Senator Murphy, I saw you here, Chairman O'Shea, and the entire City Council, the entire Federal Aviation Administration, local and DC based, and the numerous other federal agencies whose guidance and expertise we rely on every day. Our air carriers who will use these runways to bring people and cargo in and out every day. The countless civic organizations to support this program, especially the Civic Committee and of the Commercial Club of Chicago and Mr. Lester Crown. The surrounding communities that work with us and to support this development, and all of the men and women who built this and continue to work for our many diverse contractors of all sizes. And to each and every employee, staff member, attendant, from the air tower to the cargo hangar to the concession businesses to the check-in gate, nothing happens without you showing up every day in and out to get people where they need to go. And of course, my staff, the best department in the city. I want to thank them all each and every day for their courageous and their heroic work that I have witnessed firsthand over the last several years. So thank you to each one of you. And also, let's give one big final round of applause that we got this done. Thank you again for coming today to help us celebrate this. Please make sure you get something to eat and drink, and there's plenty of opportunities to take some incredible pictures here of our airfield. Thank you once again for coming. Appreciate it.